Have you ever watched a deal on Shark Tank or Dragon's Den that you really resonated with and you wanted to invest in, but you can't because it's venture capital? And then 2 or 3 months later, you see that the entrepreneurs are crushing it and the dragons just 10x'd their money. Meanwhile, you're sitting at home eating your stale Cheetos in your PJs. The truth is the world of venture capital just isn't accessible for most investors. It's usually reserved for wealthy, high net worth individuals or large institutions. It's not something that a lot of us can just get into and become a venture capitalist. I mean, it goes without saying that investing in these tiny growth companies has a humongous amount of profit potential. Imagine buying shares in Amazon for $1. Now, what are your options? I mean, you can go buy stocks, but by that point, the profit potential is a lot more limited because these aren't startups anymore. They're usually large corporations. Now, as it turns out, there actually is a way that you can invest in these companies and become a venture capitalist. There's a way that anyone can do it. All you really need is a bank account and a few $100 to get started. Now, I've been working in the business for about 10 years now, and unfortunately, it's taken me this long to really figure it out. After business school, I started working in institutional finance, where I worked for a couple of the country's largest asset managers. Just one of my clients had about $2 billion invested with us. Now, the truth is, I didn't do it because of passion. I did it because I read a Harvard Business Review study that said that was the highest paying career after graduation. Not too far along, maybe a couple years later, I realized that was actually not true at all. There was a way more profitable industry, and as it turns out, I was working a few blocks away from the epicenter of it, and I didn't even know it existed. So what happened was, I started seeing a lot of my friends investing in these companies that were roughly the similar size to something you'd see on Dragon's Den. They were tiny, high-growth companies, but they traded on regulated public exchanges. So what that means is you can buy the stock in these. Now, they weren't over-the-counter, sketchy, pump-and-dump penny stocks or cryptocurrencies or anything like that. These are real businesses run by real entrepreneurs, run on regulated exchanges. It's a pretty interesting opportunity that for some reason, me, I even worked 2 or 3 blocks away from the epicenter of this business, and I still didn't know it even existed. And it's something that a lot of people don't even know is out there. How many opportunities do you know out there where you can take maybe $100 in your bank account and turn it to $1,000 pretty quickly, or 1,000 into 10,000, or 10,000 into 100,000? And it's actually not as uncommon as you might think. I put a post on my Instagram @edge.investments just to ask how many people in my network have had some kind of experience where they've seen a 10x on one of these stocks. Instantly, I got about 20 people that responded. Now, what was fascinating is that most of these people, or the majority of them, actually have had it happen multiple times. So how is it that this completely freak chance event not only happens more often than you'd expect, but it seems to happen to the same people multiple times? So I had to figure out a little bit more about how they were doing it and what this market was all about. Now, the truth is, with a lot of these investments, it's barely even investing. It's more like a game. But the good thing is that with any game, if you learn the rules and you take emotion out of the equation and you develop a system, you can win. But first off, before I go any further, this is not for everyone. With any potential for a lot of reward comes a lot of risk. So you have to really know how to remove your emotions from the situation, and you have to be really diligent and pay attention to the markets. I created Edge Investments because I saw a huge opportunity. A really exciting market that a lot of people don't know much about, and there isn't really a whole lot of good information out there to teach people. I will teach you as best I can. I will do exclusive CEO interviews and get you inside of a boardroom that you would never be able to access on your own. If you're in my city, I'll invite you to my live events. Okay, now why am I doing this? To be fully honest with you, it would be more profitable for me to not teach you. And that's how most of the industry actually works. They'll get you excited just like I did. They'll tease you with what success looks like, but then they don't actually teach you about these deals. Instead, they just sell them to you, and that's how they make the money. So don't get me wrong, this isn't a charity. I do intend to make money here. While you're watching this video, you might get interrupted by an ad, or the next video that pops up might be a sponsored post, or I might ask you to pay a couple bucks for a ticket to one of my live events. But there's no reason that we can't make this a win-win. So follow along, like, subscribe, turn on your notifications, all of that. Leave a comment below, and come with me. Let's make some money together.